This is a webinar about bringing some innovation to how we're thinking about staffing models. And I'll tell you why I am here delivering this content. It is not because I am an expert in this area. I am learning a lot very quickly about a lot of instructional decisions, especially when it comes to this really different and unique position that we are in now. And I've had the fortune of learning alongside some really smart leaders, both at the district level and the school level. We started to shift our focus towards more long-term return planning and looking for opportunities to use this crisis, for lack of a better word, as an opportunity to completely reimagine teaching and learning for all kids, and to bring a very intentional, equity-focused mindset to that reimagining. If you are familiar with design thinking, you've probably seen these steps laid out here. Any design sprint or design process in general typically starts with an empathy exercise, or starts coming from a place of empathy. One thing you might be less familiar with, which is what we've been trying to infuse more and more into our design practices, is this concept of equity by design. Their framework through this organization, the Equity by Design Collaborative, includes a lot of these pillars here that you'll see on the right side of the screen. I'll draw your attention to two that I keep coming back to every time I do design sprints like this. The first one is that idea of design at the margins. It's just like it sounds, where when we go through an empathy exercise, or as we start designing solutions, rather than going directly towards the people or the user that is typically in the front of our focus, thinking a little bit more about those that might be on the sidelines or aren't typically as center, like standing right in front of us, or the loudest voices that we typically hear. The other one that I think about a lot is a little further down in the list, making the invisible visible. I think we often make a lot of assumptions through the design process that we don't even know that we're making. We decide things in our minds and don't say them aloud. And I think this concept of making the invisible visible is a way to check those assumptions, say them out loud, be very intentional about the role that they play in the solutions that we're creating and our understanding of the problem that we're trying to solve. They thought a lot about teacher pairs, where they have a teacher that is doing in-person instruction and a teacher that is doing remote instruction, and they are paired together. And the idea here is that the in-person teacher delivers the lesson in real time, certainly too. This is in a hybrid environment where you've got some kids learning on site and some kids learning remotely. The idea here is that the in-person teacher delivers the lesson in real time to the students that are there, possibly in real time to remote students through a live feed, but possibly in a recorded version if they were doing sort of a lag schedule. So that in-person teacher, their primary responsibility is delivering that lesson, whereas the remote teacher's primary responsibility is in support, certainly to the remote students, but possibly also to the in-person students if the in-person format is one of blended learning, where they get that kind of live instruction and then they are possibly getting some remote support. But I think the headline here is that you've got two teachers both supporting a group of students, but in different ways. They have differentiated between their roles here. So this is a master schedule for kindergarten and first grade, and this is the teacher view of this. And what you're seeing is that every teacher has grouped their class into 3 different groups. And the guidance behind that, which you don't see here, is to think about specific student needs. So they might be thinking about specific interventions. Maybe one of their groups are struggling readers who need extra reading intervention, and that teacher is going to approach that group differently than he or she might group B, who is a bilingual group of students, or group A, who might be accelerated learners, and she wants to bring in some more challenging curriculum there. So you can see this teacher is interacting with each of their groups on a different subject every day. Really appreciate your time today. I was thrilled to see some of your feedback that you sent just to me, that this is inspiring some ideas for you.